Welcome to the Kevin Show. Thank you so much for watching my show. And follow me on Instagram. So guys, today is a special show for me. Everybody knows that I'm a huge fan of the Late Night Show with James Corden, right? And today, I'm going all the way to LA. And my guest today is very special to me. He's the Senior Vice President of the Late Night Show on CBS. Señoras y señores, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nick Bernstein. How are you?
Hi, Kevin. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm so glad to have you here. What a pleasure to have you here. I gotta tell you that this moment here is very special to me and unforgettable because basically this show over here is inspired on the Late Night Show with James Corden. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Katie, CBS, and everybody involved to this very important time to me.
I just hope I don't disappoint you, Kevin. I'm happy to be here. Believe it or not, this is the first talk show I've ever been a guest on. So it's a great pleasure for me.
Amazing. So you guys, the Late Night Show, it's on break right now, right?
Yes. So the Late Show takes a little bit of a vacation during the summer, and we just started just this week, really.
Nice. And are you on break too, or from home, or work from home?
If you asked my bosses, I am working right now. I am working from home, and I'm working very hard, and I'm not doing a talk show during work hours. Don't tell them.
Okay, I won't tell them.
Thank you.
So Nick, I know that you are a camp lover, right?
Yes.
And you started on CBS in October 1999, right? But tell me, how did you get into CBS? How did you start?
Okay. You're really close. I am a camp lover, and I did start working in television in October 99. But I actually started at NBC, one of the other networks. And I started at CBS about when you were about 1 year old. I started in November of 2014. So it was it was right before the James Corden show started. I came to CBS to work with the James Corden show.
Great. So, Nick, one of those things that I like on the Late Night Show with James Corden is that you guys make everyone special, like putting together all the celebrities. It's like you don't separate who's gonna be the best guest, who's gonna be the second one, the third one. And this is amazing. I know that now from the pandemic, it's a little hard to do it, right? But I really like the way you do it.
Thank you very much. It's really nice. It was James and two other people who work on the show named Ben and Rob that came up with the idea of doing a show that had everybody come out at the same time and be together like you would at a party. You don't just talk to one person at a time and then move to the next person. You get to talk to everyone at once, and you never know what happens. Sometimes you start a conversation and someone else joins in, you didn't even know what they were going to say, and that becomes the fun thing.
Exactly. So
Are you about to tell me that I have another guest coming on? I'm not solo with you. It's not just you and me right now.
Oh, Nick, I wish. But this one is a special one, and just for you. Okay.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
So Nick, you have been working from home for almost 14 months, right? And
Yeah.
when you came back,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you continue. I interrupted you.
So when you came back, you had a special spot.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Oh, good. You have it. Great.
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
So
how did you get to that spot? Who came up with the idea?
Well, Kevin, I don't know how I got there, to tell you the truth. I definitely did not ever expect to be on TV. What happened was, James and the show was able to move back into their studio right around September. Now, I was still working at home, like you said, for about 14 months. Then when I got the vaccination and I asked permission, I was able to go back into my office, which is right in the same place as the studio is. And then the three guys I just mentioned, James and Ben and Rob, they asked me if I would sit in the studio, which is where we don't have an audience right now. The people who are in the studio are the people who work with James and me, and some of them are camera operators, some of them are writers or producers. And then they decided, I think in part because I've grown my hair out since the pandemic, since I started.
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay. Well, they found this quite amusing. I've kind of changed my appearance in this whole time. Nobody knows who I am, Kevin. You didn't know me before this. Nobody
I didn't know you.
It's honestly, you shouldn't know me. There's no reason for you to know me. And then they're not just gonna put Nick in the studio. They wanted to put me at the bar in a very high chair. And then they thought, oh, that was really funny. So every night during the first week, they put me in a chair at the bar that was even higher and higher, until on the last day of that week that we were taping, I was so high up, I could touch the lights. I couldn't see anyone. I mean, I don't know if you can see how high are your lights in your studio? Pretty high, probably.
Yeah, pretty high.
Yeah, that's where I was. I was sitting up there. I had no seatbelt. I was terrified, but it was also really funny. And then I thought that was probably it. That was a fun week. We had our nice chat, and now I'm gonna go watch the show from my office. Or maybe I'll be in the control room and I get to watch it where you have a control room. That's probably where your dad is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided, all right, well, let's keep him in the studio. And now I've been there every day basically for 2 months, along with a whole lot of other people.
2 months?
2 whole months of shows, and they really like making fun of me, I think a lot of people enjoy watching James interact with the staff, and it's
I did
really
enjoy it. Yep.
Are you liking it? Do you think it's funny?
Yes. And how many days did you sit in that chair?
So I was in that chair at the bar for 4 days, and now I'm in a different chair.
Okay.
So the chair that I'm in now, I'll try to paint the picture for you. So if there was only one other person in your studio with you right now, and you had a direct eye line to them, so that the only person you saw was me sitting in a chair, that's my relationship with James in the studio. He looks out, he can look everywhere, but if you look straight ahead, the only person he sees is me. And if he is a guest on the couch, like the guest who would sit next to you, the only person they can really see well is me, which I think is crazy because once again, no one knows who I am or why I'm sitting there if they're just a guest in the studio.
Great. So Nick, everyone came to my show. I tried to make it a little bit more fun. And we play some games. Are you ready to have some fun?
Fun is my middle name, Kevin. Let's do it.
Amazing. Generation gap. So Nick, you have kids?
I have two daughters.
2 kids. How are they?
One of them is 13 and the younger one is 11, but she turns 12 in August. So they're really close in age.
Same. I turned 9 in August too.
You do? What's the
Yes.
day?
August 30th.
Oh, so we're a little earlier. We're the beginning of August, but it's still a good month. Good month for a birthday.
So, do you watch movies with your kids?
Yeah, we love watching movies.
So in this case, this is gonna be pretty easy for you. If you don't know this one, I think someone on CBS, it's gonna be pretty sad. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me, what movie is this? Can you see from there?
Yes, I can see it.
All right.
I
hope you know this one.
I know it. This is Peter Rabbit.
Let's see. It's Peter Rabbit!
Wow.
Great
All
job. Right. So the next one, who's this guy?
Well, that is the Boss Baby.
Let's see. It's the Boss Baby! Congratulations!
Yes. Thank you.
But this one over here, I don't think you're gonna know this one.
Okay, all right.
But I hope so.
So do I. Oh.
Who's that guy?
That's Luca.
Oh, let's see. Oh my gosh. It's Luca! Yes. Congratulations!
Yes. Oh,
Great
man.
job.
You know what?
All
we
three?
just watched that. We just watched that movie like a week ago.
Oh.
So, have you seen Luca yet?
Actually, I thought it was so cool. I watched it 3 times.
Oh my gosh. I did too. I
Yes.
thought, okay, listen, between you and me, did you cry at the end?
Yeah. It's pretty sad ending, pretty happy. Yeah.
I was crying. I had to leave the room for a second. I was a wreck. I was an emotional mess. I needed Kleenex. I couldn't, it just really touched me.
Yeah.
Good movie. Good.
Yeah.
Tough.
Amazing movie. Disney Pixar, you did a great job on it.
Yeah. Are you trying to get a sponsorship from Disney Pixar? What's going on here?
We never know.
Okay.
Nick, I'm having so much fun already.
Me too.
So Nick, as a senior vice president of the late night show program on CBS, what exactly is your job? What do you do?
James asks me this a lot. He does it a lot. My job is to basically make sure that James and the producers and the writers get a chance to do all the things they hope for. So sometimes that's about just saying, the easiest day that I have at work is I go to the show, I watch the show, it makes me laugh, I turn around and I say, that was very funny, good job, and we all go home. Not every show's like that. Sometimes we have to make some tough decisions, when it comes to like, do we have to make edits? Something's too long and we have to cut it down. Or someone says something that they're not supposed to and we have to cut it out of the show. Or sometimes you hear a little beep because someone said something that they're not supposed to say on TV.
Yeah, and also when they say some brands, right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right, Kevin. You've been watching.
Yes.
I have to.
I even heard you saying, Prejos, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I there have been a lot of times where the show tries to get something free, and they're not supposed to do that. And sometimes it happens naturally. They didn't write it out. It's just we're all having a conversation. It's fun. Something fun is happening, and it goes too far in a direction that I'm not that comfortable with. So I have to tell them now. Unfortunately, on the air, you can't say that. Now, a lot of times, James will ask if he can talk about something, and then they cut to me, and I have to say yes or no. There are other jobs too. I'm one of the guys so there's a whole lot of different departments at CBS, right? There are people who work with the press. There are people who make those promos that you see on TV or online. There's the people that put the clips on YouTube. And I work with all of those people also. And sometimes they have questions that I can help answer them so that they don't have to talk to the show directly while they're trying to make their show. So I'm like a helpful person, hopefully, to try to make the show work as smoothly as possible.
Nice. So let me ask you something. There's another late night show, right? Do you work for them as well, or just late night show with James Corden?
There is another late night show on CBS called The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and I watch that show regularly. But there's another person who's a vice president who lives and works in New York. Her name is Lauren, and she oversees the Colbert Show. But
you're in the West Coast.
And I'm on the West Coast. Yeah,
yes.
That's right. But I get to also work on other James Corden shows that they do. So they have a show called Carpool Karaoke, and I get to work on that show. And they've had a show called Drop the Mic, which I've worked on. They had a show with a psychic who drove around in a car, and that was called the Thomas John Experience. I worked on that show. They had a game show called Game On. That was with Venus Williams and Rob Gronkowski, former New England Patriot, who maybe you've heard of. So I get to work on some other shows too, but my main job is the Late Late Show.
Nice. So since you said something about the carpool karaoke, I'm just curious. When you see on TV, you see James Corden with the guests, right? Mm-hmm. Is that true that to do that carpool karaoke, there's like one car in front, 5 more cars back there, and another truck?
Yeah. There are.
It's a huge operation, right?
There's quite a lot of cars. There has to be they try to make it as safe as possible. So there's a car in front. There's often.
It's a guy, James Corden.
There's James.
Yes.
There's a car in back that has. Sometimes producers are in there. Sometimes the director is in there. I've never actually gone in the carpool cars. I've never been in that route. I'll watch the finished product or the close to finished product when they're done with it. But you can see there's quite a lot of people, and sometimes they also even need police to go with them. Not sometimes, I think they always have to have police go with them, just so that they can be extra safe and make sure that, like driving around and doing that, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. So
One day
Nick,
you'll figure it out.
So this is you a year ago.
Okay.
You had a short hair.
Yeah.
Right?
I did.
And during the pandemic, y'all had some challenges to cut hair, right? And now you have a new style. What have made you decide to grow your hair and change your look?
Thank you for asking, Kevin. It wasn't like a decision that I thought a lot about. So you look at the difference between the two of us right now. You're wearing a suit. You've got your hair really nice. You probably combed it. Maybe you put a little product in there.
Yes.
So I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. I'm sure none of us did. So I didn't get a haircut, in February of 2020. And then originally people were saying the whole idea is to flatten the curve. And we're going to spend 3 or 4 weeks at home. Well, and then hopefully the coronavirus won't be part of our lives anymore.
Hope so.
Yeah, it didn't turn out that way. I have very curly hair, as you can see. That is not easy to cut. So I didn't want anyone.
Your hair is better that way.
Oh, well, thank you.
I like your hair that way. Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun, and now it's just I just kind of let it keep going. And I mean, eventually, I'm sure I'll get a haircut, but I've been having fun with it. So I say, some people have said that it's a breakdown, but I consider it a breakthrough.
Do you ever get surprised with your... Wait, did everybody get surprised with your new look? And when did you pretend to get a haircut? I don't think you should.
Well, yes. The longer it had been since people had seen me, the more surprised they were. And when I went to work, at first, we all wore masks all the time. So people didn't recognize me at first. They saw this giant head of hair and a mask, and it did not connect that this is Nick Bernstein behind the mask. So it was like a lot of double takes. And then there were some people, so I don't know if you've had this anywhere you've been, but we have special officers that make sure that we stay safe in the offices. So they're called COVID compliance officers. And they've been hired very specifically during the pandemic. And this person who never met me just assumed that I was part of the band because of my hair. And I thought that was quite I felt very proud of that one. I don't play an instrument, but I'd join a band.
So Nick, when you think of a president or vice president of something, we always have in mind someone very old, grumpy, and you look so young and happy. So how long have you been working as a senior vice president of the Late Night Show program? And how's that for you to get this position?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, it's very nice of you to say.
You're welcome.
I've always looked a little young. I don't know how young I look now. I'm 44. So I've been working for a pretty long time, and I started.
Yeah, you look around your 30s.
All right, I'll take it. Well, listen, I'll take it. I used to. Can I tell you a little story?
Sure. Yeah.
So we talked about I worked at camp, and I really like camp. So I was a camp counselor for a really long time, and when I was 20, I was in charge of 12-year-olds, and we took them on a field trip to a water park. And in order to go on the water slides, you had to be 13. And they wouldn't let me on the water slides because they didn't think that I was 13 when I was 20. So my campers had to tell them, like, no, he's the counselor, And eventually they let me go on. And so I've looked young for a really long time. I figured I was just sort of aging into my role. But I've been working in late night for about 20 years now. So I started as an assistant, answering phones and ordering lunch and doing whatever tasks were needed by my boss, who was this great guy named Rick Ludwin. And eventually he saw how much I liked late night and he gave me promotions. So it took a couple of years, but then I became a vice president, and this was over at NBC. And then it wasn't until about a year and a half ago or so that at CBS they promoted me from being a vice president to a senior vice president. So it sounds fancy, but there are quite a lot. Yes, it is. There's a bunch of vice presidents and senior vice presidents. They throw those titles around a lot.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. You have a talk show and you're 8 years old.
Thank you. Listen, I'm gonna send my resume to CBS, okay?
All right.
To have my show over there. Yeah.
That's not a problem. I'll you can send me your best stuff.
All right. So as I mentioned, right? You have been working over 20 years, right? Do you think the late night show, the general late night show, has changed a lot? Like, one of those greatest things, like, I've seen another late night show hosts, like, interacting among them, like James Corden with James Kimmel, or like James Corden with Jimmy Fallon, even Ellen.
Yeah.
And how do you see that?
So it used to be really, really competitive.
I know.
Where not only late night hosts didn't go on each other's shows, but they'd be really angry sometimes if certain guests did someone else's show first. I think that a lot of times now, the hosts, a lot of them know each other. They knew each other even before they got their talk shows. They, by and large, they really like each other. And if there's an idea that's really funny, they would like another talk show host to be a part of, they'll often ask them, and they'll often say yes, which is pretty cool because I think we all like watching.
When I saw Jimmy Kimmel and James Corden together, I think it's amazing.
It's really funny.
I really love it. Yeah.
I like it too. Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon have done comedy bits together. All of the people who hosted The Daily Show have done things together. James, when he's done things with Stephen Colbert, they really, it's been almost everybody's done something with someone else.
So, a few weeks ago, you guys mentioned the possibility of doing the show on the cruise. Yes. Do you think that's gonna happen? Because in my opinion, I think that's gonna be very cool.
Do you know anyone who works at any of the cruise lines that you can put a good word in for us?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. Look, I hope it happens, but here's where I got into trouble before, Kevin, so I'm going to try to be really cautious about what I say. Normally, these types of events where a show gets to go on a cruise, that deal happens behind closed doors between the people who handle the money, not on television between the host of the show and the executive. That's not how it normally happens. So this was a real challenge for me. Now the right people are talking to the right people behind the scenes. And sometimes these deals take a little while to be put together, but we all think it would be a lot of fun to be able to do the show from a cruise. And I just don't know when that's going to happen.
I really think it's going to be amazing.
I do too. I don't want them to put me in a chair really high up on a boat. That would be scary.
I hope not. Not.
Otherwise, I'm going to move to Shrewsbury and I'll hang out in your set because that seems like a comfortable
you can come
chair.
over here. Yeah.
Okay.
So Nick, there was a time that the TV show was only for the TV, but now the world has changed a little bit. And you guys have everything digital on social media, YouTube, and I'm so grateful for that. Because like I said, my show exists because of the late night show, James Corden. And I get a lot of ideas. And you guys have amazing writers, amazing hosts. And the show is not just for someone who's gonna fall asleep in the middle of the night, but someone that will wake up in the morning, open up YouTube, and watch it, like I do. How do you see this new way to reach people, even people like my age?
It's one of the great, exciting things about how we all watch shows now.
Yeah.
That the audience is so much larger because of how accessible, how easy it is for people to watch these clips now. So that's really exciting because when I was 8 years old, I definitely did not know what a late night show was. And the fact that you like it enough that you created your own, I think that shows how great it is when people have the ability to watch these shows anytime they want, anywhere they want.
Yes. And I have audience from here, from Brazil, from UK, and some other countries.
I think that's incredible. Listen, we wouldn't have met had it not been for the internet. And I had a similar experience with the podcast in Malaysia. And
Malaysia.
And then a German entertainment blog also wanted to do an interview because they watched the show on YouTube and they connected to me online also. So a lot of magic happens on the internet.
Yes, I see some other late night shows. They're doing a little bit on YouTube, Instagram, but I think the James Corden show, the late night shows, James Corden, you guys are more stronger, you know? You guys explore a lot. The social media. Very good.
I'm glad you noticed that. I mean, I think that a lot of shows are smart online. One of the things that was hard for us is that James had never hosted a show in the United States before the Late Late Show. And so we thought it was really important at the beginning to make sure that we were as many places as possible so that as many people could take a look at what we were doing as early as possible. So we have a whole team. Their names are Adam and Tyler and Lexa and Joel and Johnny. And
Did you get my name?
Well, you don't work in digital yet. They're not mine. They're the Late Late Show digital team, and they work on making both original things from the show online, and they put it online, and they take all of the great moments from the show and they figure out how to make it work. They're the ones who also tweet and put all the Instagram clips up. So they spend all their day figuring out how are we going to live on the internet today.
Yeah, it's amazing. So since you spoke about James Corden, I saw on the Late Late Night Show. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
How is that for the CBS to get someone from UK? The total difference from the American culture. How's that for the public?
It's a really good question. So it actually happened before I started at CBS. The bosses, the big bosses, the presidents of the network, they saw James Corden when he was in a Broadway show, and it was a show that he won a Tony Award for his performance, and they had the vision to say, so this guy who's so funny and has such a good reaction and interaction with the audience in the show.
Yes, he does.
Broadway, he could do this on TV every night. And even if America doesn't know him that well, once they get to know him, I think they're going to like him a lot. And I mean, they were right. It was great. You have to have a lot of confidence in somebody in order to put them on TV when they haven't done that in such a high profile job like hosting a late night show.
Yeah. So Nick, you need to know.
Okay.
That I'm so happy and grateful for having you here on my show. You are helping me with my career, and please let everyone know about me, that I'm a huge fan of the Late Late Night Show with James Corden. You guys are amazing in every way. I really hope I can go to LA. We can meet. You guys are very important to me. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I wish you all the best in your life. Thank you so much for everything.
Well, thank you, Kevin. It was an absolute joy to spend my afternoon not working and being a guest on your show. And I would love to meet you and your family whenever it's safe to come to Los Angeles. And hopefully you can get a chance to see the Late Late Show studio. You're a little young to sit in the audience, so that probably can't happen for a few years.
Yeah, my dream. Yes.
But otherwise,
I really want to meet James.
I'm sure he would enjoy meeting you as well.
Yeah, I really want to meet James, Reggie, everyone over there. Rob, Ben, everyone.
You know everyone. You know everyone. So I'm sure they'd be really happy to meet you too.
Yeah. Guys, this was Nick Bernstein. Guys, I hope you guys liked it. Please follow us on Instagram. Go on Instagram, follow us. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys.
Ciao, gente.